if you're almost at the finish line, you have this dream that you really want to achieve for you or for your family, nothing should stop you from getting that. And if a loan is what you need to get there, then you shouldn't be afraid.
Welcome to Hustle Share, the podcast that features the daily grinds of unique hustlers around the world to show not our differences, but that our hustles are very much alike. Now here's your host, Ronster Bayombong.
Welcome to episode 29 of the Hustle Share podcast. My name is Ronster, and I'm your host. And this episode is brought to you by Payroll Hero, a time, attendance, scheduling, HR, and payroll solution for Philippine companies. If you're new to the show, we're glad to have you here because Hustle Share is a podcast that lets you learn from other hustlers by listening to them. But please be reminded because we use a lot of adult language in this podcast, so make sure that there's no kids around or you're in a safe environment to listen to this. Because today, we're going to be talking to a winner. And I'm talking about Miss Carmina Bayombong, the founder and CEO of Invested and the winner of the 2019 Cartier Women's Initiative, where she won $100,000 for her startup Invested. But before she shares how she was able to do that, we're going to go way back because she's going to share why she started this mission because of the influence of her family and how she was able to carve out a career in development work and how she was able to identify a 100-year-old problem that inspired her to take a leap of faith and become an entrepreneur with just 30,000 pesos in savings. She will also discuss the early mistakes she did and how she was able to make a breakthrough by joining the Idea Space competition. Carmina will also share how they're able to impact the lives of students by using the Invested platform and how they teach them financial literacy and help them get jobs 30 days after graduation. Carmina will also share how she was able to survive when they ran out of money and they went through the startup valley of death and how they were able to bounce back from that ruckus. And of course, Carmina will share how she was able to win $100,000 of the Cartier Women's Initiative and was able to bring pride and glory to our country, even if she only had a 2% chance of winning. And lastly, Carmina will also share her tips of how to get out of the valley of death and how to raise funding. So if you're ready to learn about the hustle of winning the Cartier Women's Initiative, let's begin this episode right now. Welcome to the latest episode of the Hustle Share podcast. I am with a winner today because, I had to bug the hell out of her. And she was supposed to be scheduled way back because she's busy, but she made time, so thank you. And we are here with Miss Carmina Bayombong, the founder and CEO of Invested. Carmina, thank you and congratulations for winning.
Thank you.
How do you pronounce Cartier?
Cartier is
Cartier.
fine. Cartier.
And what the Cartier Women's Initiative?
Yes.
Correct. So first of all, you brought so much pride and glory to our country. That's great. And of course, you brought a lot of money back too.
Yeah.
Right. So that's good.
Best part.
Right. So as we always do this in every episode, right? I'd like to ask you the $1 million question that we asked.
Yes.
So Carmina, what's your hustle?
My hustle is basically putting low income and marginalized college kids to school.
Okay.
If I were to state it very simply.
Okay.
But I run Invested. And
Okay.
Invested is currently the Philippines' leading provider of education loans for what we call student dreamers.
Got it. Because student loans are unheard of here.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, in the States...
It is really not a thing.
No, there's not a thing. It's called the tita thing, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is, right? But a lot of people or underprivileged children go through this because of life. Right? It's not because of your parents. There's a lot of other factors. But this is a big problem that you guys are trying to solve. And
really big.
Yeah, it is. And I was fortunate because my mom was, though she struggled also putting me to college, she was a single parent. She invested early enough for a college plan,
Yeah.
which is weird because
That's
that
great.
plan, that company eventually shut down.
Right.
One of those things, and then
Yeah.
for some reason she was able to finesse money out of them to still.
That's good.
Yeah, so it's
That's
like,
very lucky.
Thank you, mom. So thank you, appreciate that. I went to college, but not all students are fortunate enough to get that done.
Yeah.
But for Invest Ed, right? Invest Ed. Carmina, why is this such a big problem to solve, and why this problem of all problems?
Well, we're definitely tackling a big problem, yes.
Right.
Why is that? Currently, 76% of employers in the Philippines there are only hiring college degree holders.
Wow.
That's even after the K-12 program.
Wow.
And so, for those who can't achieve a college degree or
Right.
don't have the money for it, it's basically they can't earn anything above minimum wage.
Your opportunities are very limited.
And our vision at Invested is a world where every young person has the opportunity to pursue their dreams.
Right.
So a college degree is just like the gateway to that. It opens a lot of doors.
Okay.
But we also fund, technical, vocational. Unfortunately, there's really not that many schools here.
Yeah.
So a college degree is still a really huge thing.
Right.
And, it's an employer thing, but so, employers are only hiring college degree holders. And then we look at like, why is it so hard to get a college degree?
Right.
When we were starting Invested, we looked at, okay, like how hard is it really to get a
Right.
college degree? So we looked at data and all of that. And it was such an unheard, like I got goosebumps when I crunched the numbers, but like apparently for the past 10 years, now 13 years,
Yeah.
our college success rate has been just 22%.
No
That-
way.
Yeah. So like nothing.
That many people dropped out. and
Yeah,
then-
so
oh, wow.
it's between 19 to 22%. So for the past 13 years, that number hasn't changed. That means everyone who steps into college, only about 22% actually make their way out.
to
And
the finish line.
Yeah.
And that's not even the end goal, because after you
Exactly.
graduate, employment comes.
Yeah, and financials were the
Right.
number one reason. And that's just people who get to step into college. There's
Right.
still those who never make it. Like
Yeah.
around 40% of high school grads don't make it into college.
Correct. Especially in the public school system.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it's really a huge problem. And I mean, those are stats and everything,
Right.
but I've seen it firsthand from
The
my
grassroots
parents.
level. Okay.
So I mean, like my mom, Filipino families, they're
Right.
super big.
Yeah. How,
So-
how big is your family? if you know?
It's huge. So I have a huge clan. So my mom had 8 siblings,
Wow.
while my dad had 5 siblings.
Oh, shoot.
So, well, let's talk about my mom, for example. My grandparents were both farmers.
Okay.
So, growing up, she worked really hard to get scholarships because it was the only way out
Yeah.
of poverty.
True.
But she had a hard time getting there because
Yeah.
she was even told like she couldn't study because she was a woman. And all these barriers.
All those stigmas from
Yep.
way back, right?
But yeah, I mean, for her, like it was only scholarships that could get her there.
Okay.
For my dad, it was like had to be a working student, and
Right.
they barely got out.
Right. But they're
and-
fortunate enough that they made it out to the
Exactly.
finish line.
So,
Okay.
actually, how I also got into loans, were because my parents, like being one of the first in their family to attend college, it became like a thing. So they started earning. They put through most of their siblings into
yeah,
college.
it's a hand me down
Yep.
kind of thing.
And
Right.
that's just like the main family. But even in the barangay,
Right.
the the village level, people started coming to them asking for loans. So my parents actually they co-founded a cooperative. It's like a village bank.
So this is their fight
yeah.
originally, and you're putting this on the next level.
So I mean, I remember when I was young, I kept asking my parents, "Why are you giving loans
Right.
to people you don't know?"
Okay.
And they taught me like at a young age, well, it's risky, but loans gave people the opportunity to progress in life. So I grew up like just subconsciously knowing about loans and
Got it.
all of that. And they taught me like how to save and everything. So I've seen it like I guess from a macro point
Okay.
of view, and like with my parents, and even
Right.
when I went on to college, I managed 4 scholarship funds there.
4. Where did you go to
UP
school?
Diliman.
Oh wow.
So
okay.
in UP Diliman,
You're in a
like
scat. There.
I was in like orgs that held a lot of parties.
Okay,
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah.
That's what I'm talking
Here-
about. All right.
So I mean, I was with like UPJMA, UPIE Club.
Oh yeah,
all those-
UPJMA threw the wildest
Yep,
parties.
you would know. So
Yeah, because in Party File before
Ad hoc.
Ad hoc.
Yeah.
Holy shit, the wildest thing I've ever seen. It's like Project X the movie
Yeah.
times 10.
Yeah.
Holy
no, like
shit.
the people who would like the people in our org who would run ad hoc for the
Right.
SEM, like they'd literally not go to class. And,
Yeah,
'cause
yeah, yeah. It was a
such
whole
huge
grind, right, yeah.
But what people don't know much, because it just doesn't blend well with the marketing of a party, is
Yeah.
all of it was for a good cause.
True,
it was
true.
for scholarship fund, and I
Yes.
managed that scholarship fund.
okay.
And it was similar with my other orgs. I was also Sangguniang Kabataan. I just really
Okay.
liked being active. But I mean, we would like not sleep and have all these events
Right,
to
right.
raise funds. I would like chase after donors, make so
Right.
many marketing calls.
Sponsors.
And then, all for like this cause. And for me, the process would repeat the next semester.
Right.
And, seeing my parents again who came from them, it's like, why is it so inefficient?
No, but how do you make ends meet? Because eventually, if
Yeah.
of course your parents had a family to feed,
Yeah.
and now they're always trying to pay it forward
Yeah.
with them, and I guess that was ingrained in you at a very young age.
Yeah.
That's a great story because it's really part of your life from day one.
Yeah.
Right. But how were they able to get by if resources are limited?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, like, my parents are really great entrepreneurs, I would say. Like, they're really my
Got
role
it.
models. I think that's why they put up a cooperative. Because, like, they're like, this is not sustainable that we
Okay.
keep giving the loans, and if it's not a formal institution,
True.
people don't pay back. So, the cooperative has actually grown to, like, 75 million in assets right now.
No way!
Yeah,
Holy
it's one of the
shit.
biggest in
Wow.
Bulacan.
Wow.
And they have a really good repayment rate, like in the 90s.
Nice.
So that's how they did it. That's how they made it like sustainable, so it wouldn't be from their own money. So members of the co-op
Okay.
would save there, and then
Yeah.
they'd use the money to loan out, like a typical bank.
Got it.
Yeah.
So after college, was it straight entrepreneurship or did you take jobs first and whatnot? Because you said prior to us starting that
Yeah.
your career technically, I asked them like, how do you properly define it? You
Yeah.
said you're a development. Your career
You're
is in
in-
development, not
yeah.
development of apps. Okay, this
Yeah.
is not
No,
not a
guys.
developer. Right.
I can do Hello World.
Okay, there you go. Well, what is how did your career pan out? Was
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
I mean, that's a great question. It's one of the things we keep coaching our students about,
Okay.
how to look forward. Well, I took up industrial engineering.
Wow.
All the things I was telling you about my parents, and I actually just realized all of that.
Got it.
That it fit what I do now. But
Okay.
before, so I took up industrial engineering. I
Okay.
just really, but even when I entered engineering, I wanted to be in development work.
Okay.
Development work, guys, is like basically working on advocacies
Okay.
and trying to solve,
Causes.
trying to solve problems in our society, etc.
Yeah.
So I was really, what really influenced me and inspired me to go there were also my parents. Like,
Yeah.
my parents worked with NGOs. And for me, like, I still went into engineering because I felt like there was a lack of scientific approach
Yeah, it
in
was
the
all
industry.
mom and pop.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's a lot of like debate, policy, and it's like for me, we gotta get out of the debate
Right,
and all
right.
this, like, and just do stuff.
Yeah.
And I felt like not many tech solutions were being applied
True.
or scientific solutions. So there was that. But I always imagined like going into a big NGO,
Got
big
it.
international NGO. So when I graduated, that's what I searched for.
Okay.
But like all these big NGOs were like minimum 2 years
The
experience.
UNDPs of the world.
Yeah, and I'm
whatnot,
like,
right.
so I couldn't get it into anywhere
course.
I wanted.
Just
So
like architecture, you have to pay.
no, yeah, employers really have to drop that.
Right.
It's one
No,
of the
because you can never, especially
Yeah.
if from a person that's really found her calling from day one.
Yeah.
It would be heart crushing.
Exactly.
To know that, hey, I'm here to contribute. I have a lot on my plate
Yeah.
that I can give to you, but you have this barrier that I don't know where I'm gonna
Yeah.
get. So for you, those 2 years, since the big NGOs have that thing, how did you overcome that?
So, well, I was lucky to come across a company which opened like a ton of doors for me.
Which is
Smarter Good.
Smarter Good. That's
Yeah.
why. So a little caveat. Let's just take a side note real quick. So I knew this girl was familiar. It's like, where the hell? So apparently we were in the same office before.
Yep.
In my first
Where there's
startup.
free beer.
Free beer. You can smoke.
We missed
outside,
that.
not smoke cigarettes. So I used to smoke cigarettes a lot, 2 packs a day. Imagine that, right? Because I was in nightlife. And in that office of Future Now Ventures, they also rented a space for
Yeah.
Smarter Good. And little did they know that sometimes when they're out, I took a nap on their couch sometimes. It looks very comfy.
We
yeah.
never found out.
Yep,
like-
not until now. So if there's people from Smarter Good that's listening to this, if there's some saliva on your that was mine. No, or those people from All Famous.
Yeah.
From All Famous. That's what they are. They're noisier
Yeah.
than us. Okay. But yeah, Carbs, from your point, how did Smarter Good open up a lot of doors for you?
I mean, it was basically like a consulting company.
Okay.
The business model of Smarter Good was very smart.
Okay.
So we
And
would
they're good. Smart and
Yeah.
good.
So what we were doing was consulting for fundraising. Yeah.
got
So
it.
our clients were like social enterprises and NGOs.
So that's what those digits on the wall were for.
Yes.
It's like, what are
And
these?
they
Right.
were clients from all over the world, mainly the
Okay.
US. So the model was like kind of BPO.
Okay.
So these were what I did was I handled fundraising for 6 clients.
Wow.
So what that means is like they had around $4 to $10 million budgets,
Right.
and then I would make sure they raised that.
And you already had prior experience in this with your UPJMA hustle.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
you know,
I think also fundraising is something I didn't really want all the time, but I just kept getting jobs in fundraising.
Right.
Which is like a big part of my work now also at Invested.
Okay, so that's great. So, you have this investment game. How did you decide that, all right, my turn, I'm going to take the wheel like
Right.
Jesus, and my turn to
Good
raise my own
question.
shit? Well, how did you jump? Because
So
this is a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it had a lot to do with my work in Smarter Good because as an account manager, I work directly with the CEOs
Okay.
of these great social enterprises.
Okay.
And I worked mostly with education and
Ah,
employment.
wow, why-
I
dude.
know this is all like fate.
But here's the thing: I've never just what you're telling me now. I've never
Yeah.
seen anyone just in line with what you're supposed to be with
I
day
know,
one.
and
That's
I wasn't
crazy.
like I had no idea about Invested. Like I had no plans of doing
right.
Invested. And then there I was again,
Boom.
doing the same thing, like
Comes back.
running around
Right.
every day, like raising funds so that more people could go to school. And
Right.
I'm like, dude, this is not just local. Like it's global. It's a really global problem. These people like encounter the same stuff.
Yeah.
So, the tipping point for me was like, I worked with like 40 to 50-year-old social entrepreneurs, and these were like real hustlers, not the typical NGO people, like really entrepreneurs who have taken on huge problems. And I saw they spent like 10 to 15 years in their industry to even create a model that could solve a 100-year-old social problem.
Wow.
So for me, it's like I've always wanted to solve a problem.
Yeah.
And I saw it took that much, so I was like, I actually resigned, and my boss was like, really?
Wow.
She was really surprised. She was like, I thought you were enjoying your job. I'm like, I enjoyed it too much.
Got it. That I believe I can
Yeah,
be
no,
Daenerys Targaryen and break the wheel.
No, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this problem was just like itching at me. It was
Right.
kept coming back to haunt me. And I just felt there could be a more efficient way. So, but the stupid thing I did was like, that was 2015.
Yep.
Like, honestly, the startup community wasn't as alive
But
back
there were
then.
legs now. By 2015, there were legs.
But in
right?
2015, there were less talks you could attend.
Yep.
All of that. I mean, so I am just like very naive. I guess I was like naive plus overconfident because I
Right.
came from fundraising. I'm like, I could handle fundraising
Yeah.
for 6 companies.
Right.
Like, I could sustain my own company probably. So I
Right.
resigned with like 30,000 pesos in
Oh
my
my.
bank accounts. Like,
Look, it's
that was
giving me the
stupid.
chills because I did the same thing.
That was stupid.
Yeah, but hey, you're here now. But let's take a quick break.
Yeah.
And when we come back, now let's talk about how you launch invested
Yeah.
from day one and what are the challenges you had to overcome
Sure.
to get that done. More of that after the break. Hey, hustlers. Let's talk about something really important real quick. Something that a lot of you I know can relate to, especially if you're running a business. And I'm talking about payroll. You know how hard it is and time consuming this is, especially that you have to do it twice a month. And as a guy who's been running tech startups for over 10 years now, this is something that I did not enjoy doing at all. It's not like it's because I don't like paying my employees. No, but it's already hard looking for funding to fund for your payroll, and then it's so much more harder if you're doing this manually. Luckily, I've found something that I highly recommend that you try, and it's from our friends from Payroll Hero. And here's how Payroll Hero works. They use your employee's face as your primary biometric to avoid buddy punching and ghost employees. So unless your team can figure out a way to swap each other's faces, tracking time and performance will never be your problem again. Payroll Hero is also very consumer friendly because it's also based on web and mobile, and it's also cloud-based, so you never have to worry about your clunky old biometric machines. So now you can automate time, attendance, scheduling, HRIS, and a payroll platform wrapped all in one. We have a very special bonus for you hustlers listening on the Hustle Share podcast. All you need to do is go to www.payrollhero.ph and use the promo code HustleShare to get a 60-day free trial. That's technically 4 payrolls that you can do all for free, so you can see how it works for you. And the beauty about it is there's no upfront payment needed to do this. So never worry about payroll again. With Payroll Hero, optimizing work productivity with happiness. Welcome back from the break. We're still with carbs. I'll call you carbs. I love carbs. Right? Whether it's from pizza, bacon.
Yeah, that's my nickname, guys. By
Yeah,
the way.
Carbs Bayombong. There you go. But I'll call you carbs. Carmina's too long. Too many syllables.
Yep.
All right. So carbs. You said prior to the break that you were stupid and resigning and you're thinking you only had 30K on your pocket. What was your idea like? Like, all right, I'm out. Deuces. My turn. What was it like?
No, so like I had envisioned like what Invested is right now, like as a non-profit initially.
Got it.
I worked mostly in US philanthropy,
Okay.
which was where my confidence came from in
There you go.
fundraising and all of that.
Yeah.
But little did I know, like non-profits here were like a different story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just as a tip, guys, philanthropy here is dead.
Yeah.
I would basically call it that. Unfortunately, like even the bigger companies, CSR is still kind of like for photo shoots.
Right.
And not meaning bad to anyone, but
Yeah.
that's just how it is. And then donors tax was like 30%.
What
so,
is a donor's tax?
So if I would raise 1 million pesos
Right.
as a grant to my nonprofit,
Right.
like you would need to give 30% of that.
That fucking sucks. Are you kidding me?
300,000, yeah.
That's already a grant and you're getting 30% of
So,
mine? Oh,
well,
man.
that's one of the benefits of the train law. It's now just 6%.
So thank you, train law, but everything is now expensive because of that.
But like
Right.
one of the things that like I went on to like fundraising donations and like I realized after the Napoles scam, people's mindset of like non-profits were just really bad. That it was just
Of course,
like scammy.
because it can be it can be used as a Trojan horse.
Yeah.
For
so
something.
you
that's
know
not
like
good. Right.
a few months into, like 3 months into it, I was, of course, like out of money, trying to do some
Were you
part-time
alone?
jobs. I was alone at the
man.
moment. I was still recruiting co-founders,
Okay.
which came on to be, which went on to be like my old college friends
Okay.
who were interested in the same mission. But
Okay.
luckily, we got into the idea space.
So that's where
yeah.
it started.
So I'm really good at writing proposals and grants.
There
so,
you go.
Diane,
Diane, whoever, Butch, saw it like, oh, this is a really good proposal for a grant.
So we like out of the thousands who applied, I'm like got to
Dude,
the top
it's hard.
20.
You know, I'll just share. I'll share
Yeah.
this. Okay. I've never made it to Idea Space. I've tried 3 times.
Yeah.
The farthest I've been able to go was through the interviews.
Yeah.
But I never made it.
But it's honestly, well, I worked in fundraising, right? These
Right.
competitions are always a 1 or 2% probability
Yeah.
in my pipeline. And even the Cartier grant we just won was 2%. And I think the great thing is I've managed to turn 2% into...
There you go. In reality, congratulations. But before we talk about that, let's talk about the Idea Space first.
Yeah.
So, Idea Space, you came in there with an idea or with an MVP already?
With we had an MVP.
Okay.
But it was just like really I mean, it was like a website,
Okay.
just an info site, and then an initial design
Okay.
of the product. But what the Idea Space really helped us to do was pilot.
Pilot.
So yeah, so pilot in the sense that we got our first borrowers.
Yes.
Yeah.
If they open up not just the money, the video about the Idea Space program again. We've said this so many times in this podcast with Earl, with Kat, with
Yeah.
whoever. Style Genies also from there and whatnot. Idea Space doesn't just give you the funds, because the funds, to be honest, 500K is not much.
It's not much,
right.
yeah.
But they open up so many doors for you,
Yeah.
especially the AIM Dado Manataw thing, right?
Yeah.
That they let you, now they put you in the right mindset,
Yeah.
prepare you for it, and open up the network as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. And you know, it like some of the rarity. So finally got to go super full time
Right.
on InvestEd because we had a grant from Idea Space, and we got our first 12 borrowers.
Nice.
So we allocated like 150,000 from the 500K grant to our
Wow.
first borrowers, and then the rest was like developing our first back end, just salaries for like 3 people, all of that. So we started in PUP,
PUP.
the school. And that's where our first 12 borrowers came from. That was
Right.
in Bulacan because I knew the mayor.
Wow.
So from my
Nice.
old,
So using your hometown route.
you know, yeah. So
Right.
we're really thankful to that guy up to now because so I was
Give him
able.
a shout out if you want to, mayor, whoever.
Yeah, he just won again.
Oh
so,
wow! Congratulations. Who,
I don't know if
who's
he's
it?
gonna. Mayor Yoyoy.
Mayor Yoyoy.
Plato. Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was Villamayor.
No. So.
Okay.
So the PUP was government funded,
Okay.
so
Yes,
they
the
allowed
state
us.
college, right?
They allowed us to talk to the students there,
Nice.
and to pilot our product. We focused on those graduating, so we could test it like very
Yeah,
quickly.
it's really those last mile
Yeah.
that really need it the most.
Well, and you know, you even at the start, we're getting all of these like, are you even helping? These are only like students in their last semester. Do
Right.
they still need it? But we knew the customers,
Right.
what the customers were saying. Our first 12 students didn't have money for their internships.
Wow.
So our first loans were internship loans.
Really?
So it's really like these problems you wouldn't think were there.
Correct.
So they were required 300 hours of internship by their school
And
in order to
unpaid.
graduate.
And it's unpaid.
And unfortunately, most of them were taking IT. There weren't any IT companies.
to go to Manila.
And so they had to go to Manila, and all of the internships were unpaid. So they loaned for their housing and daily food expenses.
Survival,
So,
technically.
Yeah.
Right.
So and with the first 12 students, we were able to create like our our first problem solution
Okay.
testing.
Right.
So these students had this problem on financial, and
Yeah.
then this was the long wait because this was December 2016. We made
Okay.
our first 12 loans, and then we waited for them to a big part of Invested's model right now is we also train them in employment and financial literacy. So we did that for the first quarter of 2017.
Okay.
So our students got employed very quickly with our training.
Nice.
33 days.
Wow,
on
that's
average.
fast.
Yeah, that's from graduation day to accepting a job offer. Yeah. And we also taught them financial literacy. So, like giving our students, teaching them like how to budget, how to save, how to analyze your cash flow, and how to succeed in repaying your student loan. So like the first judgment day was actually around April when they graduated, and we would see
you're waiting if they will pay you back.
if they'd actually repay or not.
And how many of those people paid back?
So 100%.
Wow,
and,
that's great.
They're all fully paid already.
Wow.
And actually, the first borrower who finished paying, his name's Alvin. He finished paying 3 months early.
Wow.
So this was like a huge validation for all the people who were telling us like students won't pay. And it's like these students actually paid in less than a year.
Right. Because at the end of the day, if nobody's championing for them and you don't give them that trust, then that opportunity that all they needed is an extra mile, and you provided them that. Now,
exactly.
Was it easy after Idea Space? Because
it was not.
Okay, well, now let's talk about that. How was when reality sinks in? Then you're out of the nest,
really
out of mother hen's nest.
Yeah.
Right.
This is really something I think all the funders and the incubators have to work on, is that a lot of our incubators right now, I think the seed funding is too little.
Yeah.
To see the startup through their next round or all of that. So for us, mid 2017, we ran out. I mean, we were done with the acceleration of Idea Space, but the money, we were done with acceleration like as early as January 2017. But like mid 2017, we tried to stretch that 500K, but it ran out. We were able to stretch that 500K for a really long time, like more than 12 months, I think.
Wow. That's great.
It was like, so this was like some of the hardest points in the journey.
How hard did it get? So let's talk about this, because this is where, when you look really back, this is like, fuck, all right, this is my rock bottom.
Yeah.
Right? But at the end of the day, I couldn't just walk away because I signed up for this.
Yeah.
Right? For me, I remember going back just to share a little bit, same thing happened when Kickstart funded me. I ran out of money too before there was a good 6 to 9 month stretch.
Yep.
You know what I did? I had to sell my VIP membership every single weekend in the club. I had this big ass tarpaulin, set up a booth. I looked like a fucking bouncer scamming people, but I need to sell VIP memberships because if not, I would be broke as fuck. I would not survive the week after.
Yeah.
Whether it's raining or whatnot, I did that for 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
Craziest shit I've done. But, at those breakthroughs, I'll be looking back like, nothing can beat that shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I was so happy to make 20K one night.
Yeah.
And whatnot. But for you guys, how was it?
Totally get it. I mean, so the Idea Space acceleration ended like December 2016.
Yeah.
So around January, I talked to my two co-founders.
Right.
And I was like, hey, do you want to go full time at InvestEd? I think there's a lot of work we need to do, etc. But my two co-founders, and they're still here volunteering, but they chose not to go full time. So they were lucky enough, of course, with the Idea Space grant, to have a 3-month sabbatical.
Wow.
Because they were working for an MVP company. So you're very lucky as a founding
at least
team.
they understood.
That just happened so after their sabbatical, I was like, are you game to do this full time? And unfortunately, they were not, for very respectable reasons.
Of course. Life happens.
Well, one of my co-founders just had really high financial targets for herself.
Right.
And I'm like, I think InvestEd can get there, but the first 2 or 3 years are just not gonna.
No.
And I'm like, I just don't want to.
You don't milk a startup. As a cash cow.
It's gonna hurt the startup.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, I know you love the work, but I don't think you'll be happy if you're not
Right.
meeting her. So that
Right.
was one. And then the other one, she just really liked the corporate life better, which like I have nothing against.
Again,
so
yeah.
I was like, thank you for that, like that it's clear and all
Thank
that.
you.
So
Next. Were you like that?
yeah.
No.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, I tried to persuade her, but for me, it's also like if it's not a fit, it's not a fit. And I think that's one of the tips I'd love to share. Is like we get into this journey, we think the co-founders we have to stay with them until the end. I don't know where that idea came from. It's really not reality. In fact, you shouldn't if the person's not a fit. They shouldn't be in the startup. So I like early 2017, I was left alone.
Best thing is your friend. For
Exactly.
That. Right.
So like around early 2017, I was the only one left, and I felt like since that idea was like in my head,
Right.
I felt like it was a huge failure that my team left and they didn't stay. But I realized like it was actually a blessing in disguise because it made way for people who are more fit and who are
Right.
more dedicated to stay. But
Yeah.
that was one of like the bottom points. But aside from that, like there was a time I kept working like 4 to 5 jobs just to pay myself.
Survival.
But at the
Right.
same time,
Do
survival.
this. Right. Survival mode.
And we almost really died like late 2017 because the startup just wasn't like it didn't have the funds
Right.
to move. And I wasn't at that point. I mean, I could pitch funders,
Right.
but
Fundraising's not that easy, dude.
no,
Like, yeah.
but like I just really wanted to keep ownership at that
Yeah.
early stage because I felt the mission was so important. And the only funders I knew back then were more of profit driven.
Got it.
Profit will actually give life to our profit will and actually now gives life to our
Yeah.
mission. It's not bad at all.
Right.
But you like in raising
Not in a shark way.
yeah, in raising
Right.
funding, you really need mission aligned. Is the word that I
Yes.
have. It's like at the end of the day, they have to put the mission. So it just didn't feel right. And like, here's where my mom came in, and she nagged me every day because she really believed in the business, and she was
Right.
like, "What's happening? How come you're not moving?" And I'm
Right.
like, "We had all these," and he was like. And eventually, she got really pissed off because
Oh, wow.
she's a tiger mom. Like,
Okay.
she was like really had high expectations also,
Right.
and she like one night she was like she took like a chunk of her retirement fund and like actually became the first investor.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Putting her money where her mouth
no,
is.
I really didn't want to take it
Yeah.
because I know that was for her retirement, but she wouldn't like accept the no, and she was like, just take it, like pay yourself, stop working these
I would have
jobs.
fucking cried if that happened.
I actually
to me.
really did cry. And up to now, like it's why I'm also very driven
Yeah.
to. So yeah, my parents, and then that was the point. Like we got back on track. I was able to
Yeah.
recruit new co-founders finally,
Nice.
and then around that time we opened up from just one school to 5 regions.
Wow.
Yeah, in the Philippines, that's NCR in the outskirts of NCR.
Yeah.
And-
Greater Manila area.
Yeah,
that's what
and
they call it.
I wouldn't say like it was way up after that, but it really, really helped out. And I think, so I'm really thankful for my parents for that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, Carbs, let's take another break, and when we come back, let's talk about the money because you are a
Sure.
winner for real. Like you're not. I'm not throwing adjectives at you for the sake of throwing adjectives. You really brought a lot of pride back to the country.
Thank you.
And a lot of there's a spotlight as well of what you've been able to do. But let's talk about that more after the break.
Effective automation is the best way for businesses to stay competitive. And having a chatbot for your business lets you easily automate and optimize sales, marketing, and customer service in the digital age. Chatbot PH will build, train, maintain, and market your chatbot across all messaging platforms. Our team uses the latest AI technologies to enable you to better serve customers 24/7, 365. Set a meeting with us today. Message us now at m.me/chatbotph.
And we're back for the final part. We're still with the winner, Carmina Bayombong of Invest Ed. So, Carbs, prior to the break, you now told us that, I'm still getting goosebumps out of your mom really putting her money where her mouth. And that's mother's love. I'd also say my mom bailed me out so many times in my life. And, at the end of the day, that's why when I sold Chatbot, my biggest why before was I just really wanted to buy my mom a house because we never had a house. And when I finally did that, it felt full circle. All right, finally I can, at least in my own terms, I can call myself successful because I was able to achieve that really big box on top of it. But for you, Cartier, Women's Initiative.
Yeah.
This came out of nowhere, to be honest. I just was like, what the actual F? Wow, how did this opportunity happen and what's the grind like to get to win? Yeah.
That was a crazy process.
Okay.
But so priceless, like more than the grant. So Cartier, and I encourage all women entrepreneurs to watch out for the next round.
Okay.
It'll be opening soon.
Noted with thanks.
If y'all aren't familiar at Cartier's the jewelry brand.
Cartier, the one that makes guys fucking sweat.
They have a shop at Greenbelt. I'm now an ambassador.
There you go.
Full ambassador. But it's funny, like I didn't even notice their shop there until we got shortlisted.
There you go. Oh, okay. So you're here in Greenbelt 4. Greenbelt 5. No, is it 5?
So it's a really great program. They've had this for 14 years.
14 years.
Already. And you'd be surprised because a lot of their employees really believe in supporting women entrepreneurs. It's really a genuine project of theirs. I got a hold of the opportunity, of course, where we get a hold of a lot. It's just online.
Yes.
But I mean, later we'll go to tips on fundraising.
Okay.
But for the entrepreneurs out there, you really have to subscribe to all of these funding opportunities lists.
Take a chance.
Yeah.
You never know.
They're not spamming your inbox.
Right.
Every now and then there'll be opportunities. So we applied. It was like a form, the typical form for application. Wasn't that long, but there were around 2,000 plus apps from 142 countries. Wow. So again, I was...
they only get 10.
So they shortlisted, there were 21 shortlisted. So, I think... so the Cartier competition looks at women entrepreneurs in 7 regions.
7 regions.
So Philippines,
each continent, whatever.
Yeah, Philippines was part of the South Asia region.
Yeah.
And so they picked a top 3 per region. So that made up the 21. So Invested was able to, during the first round of apps, the 2,000 apps, we made the top 3 for a region.
Wow.
And how to get there is really when people think because we've won already $220,000 worth of grants.
From?
So 100K from Cartier, 100K from Dubai World Expo.
Wow,
that was
I didn't
last
know
year.
This. Wow.
Yeah. And 20,000.
And the grants are equity free.
Equity free.
Wow.
No weird terms or anything. And actually, people have a hard time believing that. But again, I worked in philanthropy, and there are really grants like this, and then 20,000 from Idea Space, of course. So they people come up to me and it's like, how can we get that? Grants, guys, grants are actually harder than investments because you really have to show social impact. And so I think that's one of the reasons why we were able to win is because we have a social impact. For example, the household so one of the things we're trying to do at Invested is end poverty.
Boom.
Well, that's college degrees get you meaningful jobs and So when people who work in this space look for metrics such as household income increase. And our graduates, when we measure their household income, there's a 50% increase.
Wow.
So with our loans, we were able to double their household income.
For breakfast. Not tuyo anymore.
Yeah. So it's a chain of reactions after that. and then it increases another 30% after, etc. So I think that's really one of the reasons why we got selected for this award. And I think the second is like the innovation that we're
Right.
trying to do, which is to create a tool. So we provide loans at InvestEd, right? But one of the things we're developing is a tool for the financial world to be able to tell if students will repay or not. So
So you can already vet for them
yeah,
automatically.
So I mean, we can tell with great accuracy like what starting salaries will be, which industry will this student go to, based on their household background. What are the risks in payment?
Nice.
So that's one of the things we're developing, and I think that's also one of the reasons why Cartier believed in us. So it was like a really crazy process. We were shortlisted in the top 21.
Right.
After that, they had Ernst and Young, which is
Oh,
their
God.
due diligence partner, come in like literally in our office, interviewed our lenders, our students, our staff.
So they flew here.
Yeah. So
Wow.
they flew in Ernst and Young in 21 countries. So there was like great due diligence, and there were a lot of documents. So another thing about getting funding, like get your documents and compliance stuff, because you will never. That's very important.
Right. Clean house.
Yeah, clean house, guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, after that, there was like, there's a regional jury, that they call it, where they decide eventually like who gets to be number one in the region. The great thing is like all the top 21 had $30,000 already. Yeah, so
nice.
so they'll never make you do like, and this is what's great, like pick the good grant funders, because they never made us commit to doing anything hassle
Yes.
until we had a sure $30,000. So
Got it.
when we won the region, we got 100K instead of 30K.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's a lot of, that's good
And-
money. I mean,
yeah.
it's not like holy shit money, but
Yeah.
if you're trying to start,
And it's unrestricted,
Yeah,
so you can do
exactly.
anything with it. But like aside from that, the connections were really
Network.
priceless. Well, like after we won, my LinkedIn was blowing up.
yup. I was one of them dudes like, hi, Carmina, I'd like to put you on the hassle share.
Yeah, and
hello.
I mean, like we had the opportunity to talk during the awards night, and
Yep.
like I was doing a talk in front of Lupita Nyong'o.
Oh my
I was like
God.
in the head of UN Women.
Did she make you freeze?
No, she was like, she's actually very attentive, but I'm like, this is unbelievable. Like, I
Right.
never saw myself.
The Kia in the flesh, right there.
Yeah, no, like,
Right.
I never saw myself, like, sharing our mission in the global
No,
stage.
this again, you put us in the spotlight.
I'll tell you something funny, though. Like, after we won, like, there was, like, 5 press interviews right after
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
from all different countries, but, like, there wasn't, like, a Philippine press present.
Wow.
So I think that's how unrepresented we are sometimes in some of these global.
But the biggest problems are here.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
So-
because and that's what I wanted to discuss now. I want to get your tips because again, congratulations.
Thank
because
you.
Now this is great. Now your tips, because this is not an easy thing to achieve, and you've overcome the odds every single time.
Thank
but let's
you.
pay it forward, right? Because especially for those kids or those people who you're doing this for those people who are short or who are underprivileged at the moment, what do they need to do? Because I've heard so many stories of
Yeah.
people selling themselves, like like prostitution, just to be able
Oh,
to
God.
get by. Like no.
Yeah.
It's like if they only knew that there's InvestEd, that wouldn't be even an option anymore. What would your tip be for those students struggling
Yeah.
to get by, just to get to the finish line?
Yeah. I mean, like, if you're a student out there listening, I encourage you to go to our website or our Facebook. Our website is invested.ph.
Yep.
It's very easy to remember. Or our Facebook, message us. We'll reply immediately. But here's the thing. What we offer is student loans. And we've come across thousands of students who, like, one of the things I know you might be thinking is like, oh my God, loans, they're so scary.
Yeah.
They're so, like, what is that even?
Yeah.
So here's one thing I'd like to share is that don't, if you're almost at the finish line, you have this dream that you really want to achieve for you or for your family, nothing should stop you from getting that. And if a loan is what you need to get there, then you shouldn't be afraid. And I'm also saying this because we've had a lot of students at Invested who finished repaying their loan. You can check out our blog, and they say like it was actually easier than they thought.
Nice.
I mean, one student even said like after the first 3 months of paying, like he didn't even notice it.
Yeah.
Eventually, it just got to be a habit. So it's less scarier than you think. And if you think you're not gonna land the job to pay this loan, we'll also help you out with that. So yeah, I encourage you to go the extra mile and like really fight for your dreams. And Invested will be here to guide you on your journey.
And in reality, these are the
Yeah.
same habits that if you're just used to putting some money aside, once that loan is off, you can still use that same money aside to
Yeah.
now invest on stocks, on mutual
Exactly.
funds, or anything that would make your life better so you have passive income down the road.
So I mean, the monthly payments, if you were to get a loan from us, could be as low as 750 pesos.
Wow.
And you know, if you're a college grad, you're gonna earn like 20K. So
That's
700.
easy pickings, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of our students paying within 12 to 18 months.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
great. Now, Carbs, the other thing I wanted to know, because you've been through the valley of death, and you've luckily made it out alive. Because a lot
Hmm. Yes.
of founders go through this, and they don't make it back
Yeah.
up, right? You've had a lifeline, which is your mom. But on a personal note, what would be your advice to founders who are currently in the valley of death, trying to claw their way up?
Okay.
To get that to get their startup off the ground.
Okay. Well, like the first tip I would have is to have an unwavering focus on your mission. So it might seem weird because like a lot of us get in the valley of death because of funding and all of that, but it's also what will get you out is really knowing what your mission is.
Yeah.
Because like let's face it, entrepreneurship isn't for everyone. When you're in that valley, it might be a moment where you have to decide if you want to continue on, and it's gonna come back to your mission.
Right.
And you know, valleys of death don't just happen once. You know.
No, there's
It
a
could-
lot of them.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of that. Like it's a cycle. So
Right.
one is like really knowing your mission and just having that commitment to your mission. Somehow you'll attract the right people to help
Right.
you out.
Unwavering focus and persistence.
Yes,
Yeah.
to your mission, and
Yeah.
it'll give you a compass in like, because sometimes we have doubts on like if there's enough market for it, if there's a need for it, and like going back to your mission and why you're doing this in the first place will usually point you to like the right things.
Nice.
Second would be like have really good mentors. Like I would surround myself with like the harshest mentors you
Who
could
are
find.
those mentors for you? Just to give them a shout out.
No, like oh my gosh, like we have so, but a lot of the mentors we had while we were starting Invested is like in the banking. So
Wow.
one of the first was
All numbers.
yeah. One of the first is Sir Eugene Acevedo, who's now
Okay.
with CEO of RCBC. But he's like very blunt when he gives comments to us and all that. And a lot of us like might feel hurt with those things, but these
Yeah.
are actually the mentors you should have.
True.
Like people who will be really honest with you.
True.
And will not take a second to like not tell you the truth.
Yep.
Like they'll tell you the truth
So
immediately.
the last thing you need is sugar coating just to take care of your feelings.
Because like you really need to get out of your head and like face the
leave your
facts.
ego out the door, and if you need some real good feedback, leave
Yeah.
that shit out the door.
So have really good mentors who have relevant experience.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of like mentors going around. But you have to really scan first. Are they
These are
aligned?
charlatans. You have to look out for those charlatans.
Yeah.
that talk a lot but don't back it up.
Yeah, I mean, make sure there's legit entrepreneurship background. You know, second is like, do they know your industry? Because
Yeah.
they could be like pushing you to look at something that's not right. And most importantly, are they aligned with your mission?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, okay. Lastly, Carbs, before we wrap this baby up, fundraising. You've been fundraising your whole life.
Yep.
Yeah, you were probably fundraising with the sperm cells while you were trying to like, hey, let's go here, but I'll go in first.
Yep.
But when you were in the womb. But what would be your tips for fundraising? Because this grants are, you said it.
Yeah.
Grants are not easy. Fundraising for equity is
Yeah.
hard already. It's harder with grants. So what would be your tips for people to who are fundraising at the moment?
Right. Gosh, I have so many to share. But, well, first of all is get rid of the short-term thinking with funding. You need to know what you need in the next 18 months and start fundraising that like 12 months. Like, start fundraising that like right now. So that's what I call the 18-month rule. So fundraise for what you need in 18 months. Next, I have is like the 6-month rule.
Okay.
Is in that what you need for your next 18 months, you should have it like 6 months before that starts. And third is like find funders who are aligned with your mission, because they like if you, and this is why being prepared really counts, because desperation can
Bad deals.
can
I've
get
done
us
that
to like
before, my God.
like bad investors, and like you might think your like money is great and all that, but sometimes like welcoming someone in, so it's like a marriage. So you're gonna be stuck with this person
Worse than that, actually. You can't divorce an investor.
Yeah. So that's that. And then like lastly, aside from picking your investors, always have a pipeline. Never depend on one.
Yep.
Like, so for example, if you're raising ₱1 million, and probability of each prospect is 10%, then you should have a 10 million pipeline. Something like so just like don't depend on one.
It's a funnel. I mean, it dwindles down as you go through that number. So if you have a 10% closing rate, then you need to have at least 10 million.
And then just to add, like, don't I mean, if you have dream funders, like those really like amazing funders who have exited companies, like don't tell yourself you can never get them. I mean, your startup is like your baby and you want the best for your baby, right? So never like tell yourself the best. You'll have someone who's less than the best. So it's good to start conversations with these people already. Even
build a relationship.
Exactly. And the best thing to ask them is, hey, if you're funding us 3 years from now, what are the metrics you want to look for?
Amen. Amen.
And then,
that's what it is.
And then, that's what educates like some of the KPIs you should have today.
Right.
So
still be on the lookout.
Yeah.
And when you do hit them,
exactly.
First person that will write the check is them.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, now again, Carbs, thank you very much for being on the show. It was a pleasure. I told you won't notice it.
No.
Yeah, but this was very fun. Right? And again,
thank you.
For those people that just want to go check out Invested, whether you're a lender or a student, what do they need to do?
So if you're a student listening, just go to our website, invested.ph, and you can apply for a loan immediately by signing up. If you have questions before you want to apply, you can chat us on our website. Also, we have a chat there, or our Facebook.
Okay.
And for lenders, we are open to people who are interested in funding loans to students. Again, just hit up our website if you want to inquire there. You can read the FAQs there. But we are open and we provide pretty good returns. And we have 100% repayment rate. So,
and again, social good. That's what it is.
Exactly.
So, at least you know that when that money went to educating or funding for the education of someone.
So just to add, if you're a corporate, you can lend to hire from our students.
Yep.
You'll get some hiring benefits. If you're a foundation, we can help you diversify from scholarships.
Nice.
And if you're an impact investor, we're very open to negotiating whatever you have in mind. But education is a great cause to invest in.
No, and the country needs it.
Yes.
Especially now in this day and age where there's a lot of propaganda and there's a lot of misinformation being spread out. The only way out of this rut is through education. And
Yep.
thank you for letting that happen. And God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So again, guys, thank you for listening to this new episode of Hustle Share. And if you like what you heard today, please don't forget to show us some love and suggest a new hustler like Carbs. Go chat with us on our chatbot at m.me/hustlershare, powered by ChatbotPH. And again, Carbs, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'll see you guys in the next
Had fun.
episode.
Bye, guys.
Peace.